Fiveish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the Fiveish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the Fiveish. I am the 6th Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tensions this week continue all the way to episode 406 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. I'd like to put it in order for a pair of opera glasses and some ice cream at the intervals. Raspberry seems appropriate. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a new with the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Rainbow Video.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in a secret laboratory in a castle on top of a mountain surrounded by bats. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
There's just so many good lines in this audio. It's like, I gotta squeeze them in wherever I can.
Yeah. I love the out of
Colin
all the
Baker
places,
doing what he does best.
Yeah, like out of all the places you had to walk into here.
Yeah. All of the space stations and all of the universe had to walk into this one.
Yep.
You didn't have a choice, Doctor. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yes. This one's so quotable.
Yeah, oh my God, yes. So, but first we need to do the news because it's stacked up a little since we haven't done news in a couple weeks. So first conventions coming crazy. InConJunction has finally announced their dates. We don't have a location yet. I guess the ink isn't dry on the contract with the hotel yet, but I guess it's finalized enough that they felt comfortable enough announcing the date. So it is going to be in July as always, but in this case July 7th through 9th. So I am excited.
Mm-hmm.
It is always a fun little con. It is a little con, but it is a fun con. So should be a good time. And then of course, GenCon, housing, hotel rooms opened up yesterday. Apparently it was a big old cluster. And I'm glad.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's always a hot mess. So luckily I don't need a hotel room. So, I just sit back and enjoy the fact that I don't need to worry about that. So, but it's always a mess. That it is one of those things where it's like, if you could get in and you get the hotel you want, great. If not, we've got months between now and GenCon, and more rooms will open up as people's plans change, people's cancel, whatever. So it's like, if you didn't get in at the get-go, if you can wait it out, you're probably going to be fine. So, but yeah. So, but then, and also badges are on sale. I already got my badge. So GenCon rolling along. So, and then coming a little closer schedule wise, Lexington Toy and Comic Expo, which I will be there, although I don't know what dates I'm going to be there yet, because Lexington is 4 days, kind of like GenCon. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm not sure I can do all 4 days, but I do have a badge, so it's just a matter of, will I be able to do Friday to Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday like I did last time? TBD. But But yeah, they're still making guest announcements, a lot of voice actors and like comic artists and stuff. But returning to the scene of the crime is Sylvester McCoy. So
Ooh.
who was there last time I was there? His booth was right next to Colin Baker's, and while Colin and I were comparing shoes because we were both wearing Crocs, Sylvester decided to butt in and share the fact that he was also wearing Crocs because we're all just a bunch of old ladies, apparently, who like wearing Crocs. So yeah, that should be interesting. Sylvester's always a hoot, so be interesting to see what shenanigans he gets into. He's a little firecracker. And then a little closer to home ish, Louisville, closer to me than Lexington. But PopCon, of course, 2 events this year, Louisville and Indianapolis, making lots of announcements for both. Again, a lot of like anime cartoon voice actors that I have no idea who they are because I don't watch anime, so sorry. But couple of exciting announcements for the Louisville show, returning to PopCon, but in this time in Louisville, Jim Cummings.
Ooh.
Nice.
Returning to PopCon. Of course, Jim, we had what, 2 years ago? Jim was 2 years ago. So and then excited about this. Dante Basco, who, if you're of a certain age, you know him as Rufio. So,
Yeah.
from the movie Hook. And then coming to Indianapolis, I'm so excited about this. Say something nice, Michelle Gomez.
Mm-hmm. When I saw that announcement, it was like she's screaming all the way.
Oh my god, I'm so excited! Oh, I've been anxious to cross paths with Michelle for years, and I was going to eons ago in the days before the pandemic at an event that unfortunately got canceled. So this has been a long time coming, so I'm very excited to meet Missy. And I'm sure she's going to be a lot of fun to have around as well. So lining up to be a very, very exciting convention season. I'm ready. My body is ready. Is my wallet ready? Probably not, but whatever. Life is short. Eat dessert first.
Yep.
So. And then of course we had the big game.
Yep.
Last night, which I'm pretty sure I heard the Vortex boys screaming for their Kansas City Chiefs for squeaking out a win there. I did not watch it. Apparently the final call that put Kansas City in position to win, bit controversial.
Yep.
Yeah. What I thought.
But I didn't have any skin in the game, so
I didn't either, but I kind of had it on for the whole thing, and man, I mean, shootout galore. Two good teams, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, let's say I did not watch a single lick of it. I was doing other things, and as like trailers and stuff were dropping, I would be watching them and be like, oh cool. So of course they always use the big game, the Superbowl, to give us goodies as far as
Mhm.
trailers and stuff. So I did not put it in the show notes, but because I can't say that I was too. It's too bad Chrissy's not here. Unfortunately, she's sick again. So and she's open to preserve her voice so that she could do gold standard this week. But of course we did get our first look at the Flash DC movie, which I don't care really, although apparently James Gunn is really excited about this and happy to be putting it out there in the world. I mean, if you watch the Flash TV series, they've done this plot line already with Flashpoint, where he goes, he figures out how to travel through time, goes and saves his mother from being killed, and it breaks everything. So I mean, I'm sure the entire time I'd be like, okay, Spider-Man No Way Home did this way better. But I will say, seeing Michael Keaton in the outfit where he can't turn his he said the words. And they haven't bothered to, like, they made sure that the outfit, even though it's been decades, it's still the same Batman outfit. I mean, I'm sure they've had to make a new one. I'm sure he probably the OG one, I'm sure, is like on display somewhere or something. But they made sure that it is still the same outfit where he has no neck and therefore can't turn his head. But
braced.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he says the line, and to hear that Danny Elfman Batman theme again, I was like,
that stinger.
I kind of can I just watch just the Michael Keaton parts, please? I don't care if there was a movie. I just want to watch Michael Keaton as Batman again. So yeah, we'll see. I doubt I'll be running to the theaters for it. Maybe like a red box rental or something, maybe. But that being said, we did get other trailers, including our trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which, oh my god, the feels. Like, this is it's sad. It's something's gonna happen in this movie that people are gonna be upset about. It's just a matter of who is it going to happen to. But yeah, it's Guardians, it's Groot, it's Drax, it's Matt, it's all of them. It's a ragtag bunch of ne'er-do-wells that somehow have managed to worm their way into our hearts. And then we got a new trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which not really some similar footage we got with the first one. There's a few clips that are new. I mean, this is likely Harrison Ford's last ride as Indiana Jones, so I mean, it looks like they're trying to go back to the look and feel that we had with the first three movies. So, and again,
and to see Sala again,
and to see, I mean, he was in the other trailer, but still to have the reminder that yes, John Rhys Davies is back as Sala, I am totally down for. So yeah, it'd be a good time. And then we have our Academy Award nominations. So our little Pod v Pod competition can officially begin now that we have choices. So some interesting, some not surprises, a few surprises. So I guess we'll see what happens in about a month. But word up to Angela Bassett getting that Best Supporting Actress nod for Black Panther. She's been winning everything else, so I'm really hoping that she can take it to the Academy Awards, because that would just be
here.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a
top.
huge boon for comic book movies.
Yep.
Yes, they did give the Academy Award to brain fart.
Chadwick Boseman?
No.
Okay.
No, because they didn't, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I thought for some reason they did.
Yeah, no, I wish.
Mhm.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
I'd get it eventually. Yeah, as for his performance as the Joker.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was posthumous. But I would kind of argue maybe that The Dark Knight isn't quite a comic book movie, though. I mean, obviously it's Batman, but
right.
It's a different feel. I mean, it's very dark and gritty, and it's like a noir type kind of thriller. It just happens to be set in the Batman universe. But I mean, Heath Ledger's performance, he could have pulled off a very similar performance and that not be the Joker against Batman, and probably just as compelling. If they made it like a thriller noir type thing without the comic book bits. But I mean, Black Panther, obviously it's straight up comic book. So I'm also very biased to the MCU. So but it would be I think it would be a big boon for the genre films. So that, and it would be nice to see another woman of color.
Yes.
The acting statue. So, because apparently they, when it came to Best Actress, they forgot that there are some very good women of color that have put in some very good performances going into the award season. So, Academy. So. And I have finally seen Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Man, that's a mouthful. I finally saw that, and oh my god, it's so good.
Okay, is it all the hype is it worth all the hype?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I will definitely say the people that I've talked to that have not seen it yet, absolutely see it, because I think it's a big contender for Best Picture. I think it's going to be, unless something happens, I think it's going to be probably a head-to-head race between Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett, I think, for Best Actress. It's really, really good. It's a very unique premise. I mean, for anyone out there that's like, oh, they just keep remaking all, so we want something new and different. There you go. This is new. This is different. I will say, this is not a movie that you put on to watch while you're doing something else. It will require your complete attention, just to keep track of what's going on. Yeah, there are some subtitles, because they bounce between speaking in whatever Chinese dialect they're using. I don't know if it's Mandarin or what, and English, but visually there is a lot going on that if you don't see it, you're gonna, when it gets referenced later, you're gonna be very confused. because there's some things that you'll get a visual reference for, and then it'll come up again like the second half of the movie, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's a very visual movie. The dialogue is important, but the visuals and the storytelling that they're doing with the with the costumes and oh my god, it's well, you just kind of have to see it. Once you see it, you'll understand. But it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if I can really explain it. You just kind of need to see it. So, but it is really good. So it definitely lives up to the hype. So there is that, and of course, speaking of the Academy Awards, in the feeds catching up, we do have Gold Standard, with their. It's weird for me to say our review of The English Patient because I'm not in that episode. 69 episodes in, I finally missed one because I was out of town. So you can hear Nick and Zan talk about The English Patient, which I cannot say that I was really upset that I missed that particular discussion, because I very much, if you've seen that episode of Seinfeld, I'm very much Elaine when it comes to The English Patient. So so there's that. But this month's Patreon episode is also now available for patrons, where we review Yentl. So, and then we have coming up this week our next episode, which is Titanic, which, knock on wood, Chrissy's feeling good enough to appear on. And then we mentioned it briefly, but had to brush over it because we had our guest last episode. But yes, book club updates.
Yes, just a second. Let me quick pull that up. I knew I was forgetting to do something here. Hold on.
I got it.
Thank you.
It's the Doctor Who The Big Finish Technophobia, which is the 10th Doctor Adventures #1.
Mm-hmm.
And then the poll for March is up.
Yes.
Which the choices are The Stone Rose, Trial of Valeyard, The Clockwise Man, and A World of Demons, the villains of Doctor Who.
Yes. Sorry, I could have done an audible and made Trial of Valeyard the book of the month. I'm like, yeah, we'll
That's okay.
We'll put it to a vote.
Yep.
But something tells me he thinks I know what you're going to be voting for.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no clue, right?
Yeah.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. Feedback. Got quite a bit of feedback actually, because again, it got a little backed up. And then Shalane was trying. We had feedback from Shalane and Aaron that came in after our Queen News of the World. So they both of them, their feedback talks a little bit that. But then Shalane was sending in feedback after last week's episode where we were talking to Jen. But Shalane sent in like 3 feedbacks that came in because her email was screwing up. So she was trying to write out her feedback and then send the email when she wasn't done yet. So
I've had that happen a couple of times.
So I've pieced together all of Shalane's feedback into one big feedback. So I hope that's okay, Shalane. So speaking of Queen's News of the World, She says, I only have one thing to say about this album. This was the album that I listened to while I was in my brother's room when I was younger. Yeah, still good. She said, speaking of her high school marching band would play We Will Rock You. That does not surprise me. That's a very common tune to be played by high school bands at like sporting events and stuff. She says, I remember the cover of the giant robot holding the men. I was about 5 years old when I saw that. Well, hopefully you weren't as traumatized as Stewie on Family Guy. So besides the Beatles and Queen albums, what other albums by your favorite artists are you girls planning on talking about? We just make this up as we go along, girl. So who knows? I'm sure we'll come across something, but I mean, the Queen catalog, there's still a lot, and even the Beatles catalog, there's still a lot that we've not covered. So, so even if we just stuck with those two, that's still a lot of material. So, but we'll see. And then she says another musical you girls should talk about is Saturday Night Fever. Which that's not really a musical. That's more of like a like I don't know what the proper label would be, because it's like popular music, but no one's singing it. They're just dancing to it. So it's a dance film. How's that? Which is still good. Because I mean, it's the Bee Gees. Which is awesome. And she says, have you girls thought about talking about the Phantom of the Opera? I can't say I have. I have seen Phantom on stage once. Honestly, I don't really care for it. I'm sorry, Andrew Lloyd Webber. You're a legend. I don't really care for Phantom of the Opera or Cats. Don't hurt me. I've seen both on stage, and I'm just like, I mean, they're good. I mean, they're really, really good. I mean, it's like I would never be able to write something like that, let alone be able to perform in it. Yeah, I'm strictly a shower and car singer, or when I'm home alone. But yeah, I can't say I really care for either Phantom or Cats. So unless somebody really insists we do Phantom, I can't imagine that we're ever gonna do it. No.
I don't think I've ever. I know the song, but I don't think I've ever seen any version of Phantom.
Yeah, and then there's a movie version, a musical movie version they did like in the last 10-ish years or so. Thereabouts, and it's big, it's flashy, they allows them, because it's film, allows them to do all sorts of things they can't do on stage, so it looks really good, but it's not necessarily a proper adaptation of the musical, kind of like the Les Mis, which we're totally going to do sooner than you might think. And then talking about TikTok, because we talked about TikTok quite a bit with Jen last week. And Shalane is quite the avid user on TikTok. I'm quite impressed, actually, with the amount of content she cranks out. She says, for me, when I got TikTok because a friend of mine got one, and she started doing TikTok, is making videos of her singing, quoting movies. Well, it was during the pandemic, which makes sense. She says, I was a little short of followers and likes than when I posted my Don't Rain on My Parade song and nearly went viral. That's cool. Since then, I've been doing duets, fun facts, and having WandaVision songs in the background. I also found so many videos that are fun to find. Yeah, there's always sort of random stuff. Shalane and I have a ongoing chat inside TikTok where all we're doing is just like sharing random videos that we find with each other that are based on our interests. So,
Honestly, that's the same with me and my mom.
yeah. It's like we don't really talk, we just share. She said she's gotten used to using TikTok since she's had it for 2 years. She's had it longer than I have. I'm still trying. I still find myself like, wait, how do I do that? She says I was going to do cosplay videos, but didn't instead. I do trivia, and she loves it. And then she also has a YouTube channel, which has her videos of doing cover songs, her singing, and then vlogs. Kind of like I do, because I too do vlogs. Because I also have an app that makes helps her edit her vlogs, which there's lots of options out there. You know, we touched upon that a little bit when talking about content creation. So I also use my iPhone and my iPad to make videos, which both of those are handy. It's always nice to have something that's handheld instead of lugging around a bunch of equipment. She says, I'm getting used to editing videos on my TikTok, which is good because you can edit somewhat inside TikTok. I don't know how some people do it. It's like some of my TikToks just come out a little awkward because I'm like, the editing is just it's weird. But anyway, you're good at it. And then more suggestions. Said 2 more movies we should talk about are The Sandlot and Dirty Dancing, which those are both really good movies. 2 completely different movies, but very good movies.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
You don't know how many.
Sandlot line to my 2 pooches quite a bit.
Oh my God. You don't know how many times, like, when somebody does something, which Chauncey, you'll get the reference, even when I say it to him. But, if I get frustrated at somebody, 9 times, the odds are, you're killing me, Smalls, is going to come out of my mouth. So,
Yep.
We see that a bit at Wolf.
It's the best line for when you're frustrated. It just gets the point across without any cursing or anything. It's not vulgar, but it gets the point across. So, and then we got some feedback from Aaron. And his, like I said, came in after our Queen episode. So he says, "Good evening, my Fiveish hosts. When it comes to the Academy Award nominations, I couldn't be happier for Angela Bassett getting her 2nd nomination. So one of my favorite actors, I'm praying she finally wins her long overdue statue. Then there's Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I hope wins as many awards as possible, especially for Ke-Huy Quan. Michelle Yeoh finally gets a nomination for what might be her best role. I'm at a small crossroads because she's up against Kate Blanchett, the greatest actor to have ever graced this planet. No citation needed. I will constantly be at odds with myself as to who I want to win. I was ecstatic that both Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu got into supporting actress. I was convinced one would get in, but not both. The problem is when you get people from the same film in the same category, sometimes that splits the vote. So then neither of them end up really statistically having a chance to win. So, and they're both really good in Everything All at Once. So, it's a very different, I mean, if you only know like Jamie Lee Curtis, either from like the Halloween movies or like the remake of Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan, this is definitely a different role for her, but she's so good. It's very funny, actually. So, Yeah, and Ke Huy Quan, watching him in this is really wild because obviously he's grown up. You know, it's been decades since we saw him in something like Indiana Jones or the Goonies. Every now and then you will see a little bit of that, you know, that kid actor that most of us know him from. But yeah, it's kind of wild to be like, this is short round.
Mm-hmm.
This is short round. Okay. Again, he's really, really good. No. Says, I have to comment on the possibility of you doing an episode on Les Miserables. I love Les Mis too. I was in a crappy production years back in high school, but the story stuck with me. A few years later, I read the book for fun and fell in love with it. It's so rich in history and the amount of details that are typically left out due to time constraints. I crave to see a full TV miniseries adaptation. I've been collecting movie adaptations over the years, but I would be excited to hear all of your thoughts on not only the Ho-Hum musical adaptation, but any other adaptation. So, yeah, there's been some non-musical film adaptations out there. I can't say I watched any of them. So, but yeah, the book is quite dense. So it really does kind of, if you were going to do like a non-musical adaptation, like a mini series would probably be appropriate. So, let's see. As for the topic, I don't have much of an opinion. I like Queen, but I'm not a die-hard fan like my father. Your father's got good taste. Like most of the people I grew up with, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. For me, it was mainly because they were so predominantly featured in the Mighty Ducks movies. I watched the heck out of those. Funny thing, as a kid, I thought those two songs were exclusively for the movies, and I broke my father's heart when he heard me referring to them as Mighty Ducks songs. Oh, that's funny. As always, thanks for the great content and take care, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate it. As always. Mighty Duck songs. I get where he's coming from though, because off the top of my head I can't think of anything, but I'm sure as a kid I heard probably popular music in a movie somewhere and thought that it was for that movie and exclusively from that movie. So
I know I definitely thought that. There's been a few like, and then I found out later that it actually existed before. I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because we are children and we know nothing. But that is okay. All right, moving on to this week's main topic, because as we're recording this, my birthday is this Saturday.
Yes, it is.
Turning 40.
It's not that bad.
I know. It's still weird to be going into a new decade, though. So it's just something weird about like.
Oh, I agree.
Having that front number change.
Yeah. True.
But anyway, as it is my birthday coming up, I, of course, had to pick a Big Finish audio for us to listen to and review. And of course, me being me, it's going to be a Sixth Doctor audio.
Oh, but of course.
Yes, so when I was looking at the extensive amount of Sixth Doctor related Big Finish audios out there, I decided I would pick the other side of the coin to one of my favorite Doctor Who stories of all time, Trial of a Time Lord with Trial of the Valeyard, which sees the return of course, Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor, Michael Jaston as the Valeyard, and Linda Bellingham as the Inquisitor. And I mean, this is definitely one of those big finishes that if you've not seen Trial of a Time Lord, you're going to be very confused.
Yes, you are going to be very lost.
You as what does Charles call it on Next Stop Everywhere? Where he talks about related media.
Reversing the
polarity.
Reversing the polarity, yeah.
Yeah. So this would be, Trial of a Time Lord would be the reversing the polarity for this, because there are so many references to not just Trial of a Time Lord, but to Colin Baker's era as the Doctor on TV. This was released in December of 2013, so not very long after the 50th anniversary.
And before it was a subscriber release, and then they finally decided, let's make it available for everybody. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah, because this is not the main line. This is the Sixth Doctor Adventures line. So but yeah, this is definitely one where you need the TV knowledge to be able to fill in a lot in this. But that being said, like, not a whole lot actually happens in this for an hour long, Big Finish audio. 45 minutes of it is the Doctor, the Inquisitor, and the Valeyard in the courtroom.
Yep.
Essentially sassing each other for 45 minutes. And it's not till you get to the, whatever you want to call it, fourth quarter, fourth part, the grand finale of the audio where like stuff kind of happens, but not really. There's an explosion. It's like the biggest thing that happens in this audio, and even then you don't get to hear the explosion really. So
and it's just like, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So there's just like it doesn't seem like it should work, because it sounds, with that description, it sounds like it would be very boring.
It's not.
But with these particular characters, it absolutely works, because these three already, obviously Colin Baker is, obviously I'm a little biased, but amazing as a Doctor. His Doctor is very good at running his mouth. So talking is a strength.
Yeah.
And sometimes a weakness for this particular Doctor. So the fact that this is audio, obviously, let him run his mouth and do his thing. It's going to be entertaining. But these three they already had the chemistry of these three characters from the Trial of the Time Lord. Granted, it's been like 20 years, more than 20 years since they'd filmed that, coming back to it all these years later. But still, so yeah, and really just Colin Baker and Michael Jaston sassing each other is
worth the price of admission.
Worth the price of admission all in itself. But Linda Bellingham holds her own.
Yes, because she even gets in a few zingers. It's like,
oh yeah,
wow.
yeah, lick spittle. Anybody can get the word lick spittle in is, already got a leg up on other people, I think. So the whole premise is the doctor is unfortunately been forced by the Time Lords to return to the same space station that his own trial had been held at, which he immediately recognized, and he's like, oh hell no. And of course curiosity, the Time Lords, he plays into their hands, but they also know how to play him, because he's the doctor, especially this doctor, you know which buttons to push, and you're gonna get something out of him. So but this time he's not the one on trial, it's Valeyard for committing a crime against the laws of Gallifrey. But because this is because it's the Time Lords, if you had a neutral and or potentially positive opinion of the Time Lords in general before listening to this, odds are you probably are going to hate them.
And for those
if for some reason you get to the end of this audio and you're still siding with the Time Lords, I don't want to be friends with you, because you're probably a psychopath. And you may want to get help. Because I mean, the rants that the doctor goes on in his own trial, which is legendary speech of Colin Baker's doctor, decadent, degenerate, rotten to the core. Even the Valeyard comes back to quote that in this audio.
It's like, okay,
does not even do justice to just how pompous, stuck up, holier than thou think that they are the end all be all, bees knees, cat pajamas, whatever, that the Time Lords think themselves
nerf herder Time Lords.
Oh my god, they are just obnoxious. And the thing is like, I really like Linda Bellingham as the Inquisitor, and I liked her in Trial of the Time Lord. But even listening to this audio, I go back and forth between being like, yes, because every now and then it seems like maybe she has a level head on her shoulders. And then there are other times where it's like, okay, yeah, you're obviously a product of the system that you have been part of for a very long time. And it's frustrating, because it's like she is like, she'll I mean, obviously, she wants the trial and everything to run with decorum and as efficiently as possible. That's not going to happen with these two particular Time Lords.
No ball chance, where.
Yeah. But there's some times where I'm like, whose side are you on with her? It's like, are you it's like, as the Inquisitor, are you supposed to be neutral? Are you supposed to be, because there's some times where it's like, it seems like it's very obvious that she's favoring the Time Lords, but then there are other times where she's like, seems to be on the Doctor's side. So it's like, whose side are you on? Girlfriend?
She's playing the angles.
I guess so. But so it's a little frustrating, but at the same time it's like, I can't blame like her necessarily, because that's the character, is she is
right.
She is a time lady, and one of seemingly importance, and in theory, yes, she should be working acting in the Time Lord's best interests.
Right.
But it at the same time, it just reinforces just how awful the Time Lords and their system is.
Yeah. And then you've got that other side too, where the Valeyard's saying, hey, I'm Regeneration 13 on the 6th Doctor. And the 6th Doctor's like, are you sure about that? So she doesn't know who to believe. And, you know, the theory's never gotten tested this far. So it's just like,
right.
Yeah, who's going to be the one to set that bear trap off?
Yeah.
And everybody to deal with the consequences.
Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, if you've seen Trial of Time Lord, you know how awful the Valeyard is.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you get this, this premise that he's finally being brought to task, and him being put on trial. It's like, okay, turnabout's fair play, and until we get the reveal in the fourth bit, where the whole thing has just been this elaborate plan that the master would probably be proud of.
Oh, boy, howdy, yes, you'd be proud. You and me, we need to talk about forming a duo here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
Oh, that would be okay, fanfic writers. Next challenge.
Yeah.
Valeyard team up.
Yeah. But then it's like, okay, great, the Valeyard's finally getting put on trial. Oh, by the way, Doctor, he requested you be his defense attorney. It's like that. Oh my goodness. So, but of course,
and the Doctor's just like, heck to the no, I'm out.
Yeah. No, he's not having it. But it's like, it's more of it unravels, and we learn more. It's like it's his curiosity gets the best of him. Like he makes a couple of comments about how the Valeyard deserves a fair trial, which that caters to the Doctor's sense of morality and justice. But at the same time, at the end of the day, the Doctor is just so curious and just can't help themselves. And when there's a mystery to unravel, they're like, give me the end of the yarn. I'm gonna start unraveling this thing until I get to the very end of it. This Doctor is no different. So, but the thing is as this unfolds, and they even emphasize this as the audio is wrapping up at the end, that you kind of, as the Doctor says, you have to take what the Valeyard says with a very large bag of salt, because the Valeyard is a very extremely unreliable narrator, if for anything else, based on past encounters and past behavior. So a lot. But the thing is, though, is that is it leaves us with a lot of questions, but at the same time, it also leaves us with opportunities. And what I like about it is, even if most, maybe not all, but even if a good chunk of what the Valeyard says and talks about his origin story, because that's really what this is giving us an opportunity to get an origin story of the Valeyard, is that it's still, there's still room in there for the origin of the Valeyard to fit into the greater canon. Even with what Chris Chibnall did with his run with like the Timeless Child and everything. So it potentially could still fit that the idea that a Time Lord could potentially go on regenerating beyond the 13 lives, which has been shown to us in a way. You know, the Master was given a new set of regenerations for assisting the Time Lords in the 5 Doctors. We've seen the Doctor get a whole new set of regenerations, which is why, and you know, whether this wasn't, I'm assuming it was intentional when the Time Lord script was written, that the fact that they say the Valeyard is somewhere between the Doctor's 13th and final incarnation or regeneration, because that leaves it very open, considering the now, as Doctor Who that we're seeing now, technically is the start of a new regeneration cycle. Because Matt Smith's Doctor got a whole new set, and we could assume it was another set of 13 lives, but we don't know that. We don't know that. Again, left open. So the Valeyard is something that, like, Doctor Who can just kind of keep in their pocket for whenever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and also and with the Timeless, and especially with the Timeless Children, because the potential numbering order of the Doctors is now kind of hold on a second, technical issues. Hold on, sorry. Accidentally unplugged my microphone, so it defaulted to the microphone on my computer. There we go.
Much better.
Much better. So I was like, what happened there? It's like I had my elbow on the cord and I yanked it, so my microphone got unplugged. Because with we just don't know how many incarnations of the Doctor there is out there. And the Valeyard's explanation that the 13 lives, the 12 regenerations, was arbitrarily put in place by Rassilon has been kind of confirmed by Chibnall. I mean, this audio was done first when we got the Timeless Child, the origin of the Timeless Child, where when they were experimenting on the individual who would eventually become the Doctor, they were regenerating. We don't know how many regenerations they went through before Rassilon, in his so wisdom, set up that arbitrary number of 13 lives.
Or did he really? And he was just saying that.
Or did he? Which, considering what we know of Rassilon, that I am inclined to say the Valeyard is telling the truth. Honestly, I absolutely believe what the Valeyard is saying about Rassilon, because what we know of Rassilon, the man was, like I said, the Time Lords as a whole, giant egos, a lot of them. Rassilon the worst.
Yep.
Ego to beat all egos. The Rassilon was just a dick. So
to quote Dean Winchester, yep.
Yeah. So, and that's putting it mildly, because there's language that we
Yeah.
do not use on this podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I am absolutely in agreement with the doctor that there is at least some truth in what the Valeyard was saying, especially the bits about Rassilon. I would absolutely agree with him and believe he's telling the truth. The rest of it, you know, the shadow houses, I could believe that, again, especially if it's something that Rassilon put together. You know, in all of his infinite wisdom, and I say that with the most amount of sarcasm physically possible.
Tongue firmly planted in cheek.
Yeah, exactly. That there are regenerations gone wrong, and heaven forbid the Time Lords find out that, you know, regeneration's not an absolute, you know, given that it, you know, that you're going to regenerate and everything's going to be all hunky-dory. I mean, we've seen enough with just the Doctor's regenerations, which even just the, you know, the regeneration itself, obviously, as far as we know, happens fine. You know, nothing untoward happens physically. You know, like the Doctor doesn't suddenly have like 2 heads or, you know, extra toes or something, or, you know, something like that. But just the regeneration process is not easy. I mean, every Doctor that we've had that we've seen this regenerated has gone through some sort of episode you know, of either being like out cold or, you know, brain going a little wonky. Again, 6th Doctor, I'm looking at you. You tried to strangle Perry.
Yep. You needed a nap and a Snickers.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like regeneration itself is not an easy process. So, you know, I think any Time Lord that says it never occurred to them that regeneration could go like drastically wrong is, I think, fooling themselves. Honestly.
Yep.
So I did like the mention of the symbiotic nuclei, though. Nice little nod to the 2 Doctors there. So again, reference to Colin Baker's run as a Doctor. But of course it's all moot, because it turns out to be just a big old, you know, revenge plot on the Valeyard's part to try to get back at the Doctor and the Inquisitor for not playing in, you know, essentially having the Doctor's trial not go his way, so that he does not, so that the Doctor didn't get executed, and therefore he got his remaining regenerations. So one big revenge plot, and the Valeyard gets off scot-free, off to cause mischief again elsewhere in the universe. So but again, nice references, you know, the out of their mind Doctor on the mud planets getting sucked into, disappearing into the mud. Yeah, a nice little call back to the 6th Doctor getting sucked into the quicksand.
Yep.
In Trial of a Time Lord. You know, the out of their mind Doctor, again, Valeyard in disguise, again, call back to Trial of a Time Lord. With the Valeyard with his little disguises. Mr. Bubblewick. But all the muttering, you know, the Big Finish calls that character the Hermit. So I guess that's what they'll call him, the Hermits. But the Hermit's just like speaking seemingly nonsense, but there's a lot of references there to like, I am the foreman, I am foreman, junkyard. Yep. I am foreman, junkyard, where it all started.
Yep.
Also, scrapyard, boatyard.
Uh-huh.
Insults that the doctor threw at the Valeyard during his trial.
Yep. I'm just like, ooh, I know where you're headed with that one. I got that reference.
Yep. Lots of pretty talking about girls and leave them in the strangest places. The doctor's companions getting left all over the place. Name dropping Polly. That was quite fun. So it's a really good audio for the premise, seemingly so simple on the surface. And like I said, it sounds like it should be boring. And if you don't necessarily care for Colin's doctor, then maybe you might. If you're someone that enjoys a bit more, flashbang even in your audio, this is not necessarily going to be one maybe you enjoy. But one of the things I love about the Sixth Doctor is his ability to speak, and that's one of that Colin Baker's done very, very well his entire time as a doctor, both on TV and in Big Finish. Is the best script writers are the ones that are able to write this doctor so that he sounds like the doctor, and especially this particular incarnation. Each doctor just has it's one of those things you can't necessarily explain. You just you hear them speak enough that you're like, that is the persona. The persona comes through. And that's why I really like the trial of the Time Lord, and specifically the ones the finale, which was written by Pip and Jane Baker, because they really understood the Sixth Doctor's voice. And this one is just, they did. This was written by Alan Barnes and Mike Maddox, and they absolutely got the Sixth Doctor's voice, the Valeyard, and the Inquisitor. And just they took this script and just ran with it. I mean, I think they just let these three just kind of like, here you go. You know what to do with these characters. Have fun. Which actually Michael Jaston, it was Michael Jaston actually recorded his not at the Big Finish Studios because he was in the middle of filming something else, so he did his remotely. Not that you know it, because it sounds really, really good. And unfortunately, while we could still have obviously Colin Baker and Michael Jaston return in Big Finish, unfortunately Linda Bellingham passed away not long after this was released. So she's no longer with us, unfortunately. So I guess if we were to have the Inquisitor return, she'd have to regenerate, I guess, would be, I guess. We don't know how many regenerations she has left, because age is a Time Lady's prerogative. So, as she says so eloquently to the Doctor. So,
I would love to see more stories with the Valeyard.
Oh
he's just a perfect villain.
He is. I mean, whatever his actual origin is, part of me kind of doesn't care.
Right, yeah. I want more. I don't care.
Yeah. Part of me just kind of doesn't care. So yeah, I mean the Valeyard is in several audios. There's even a War Valeyard. So there's the Valeyard has a lot of appearances in Big Finish, so there you have other opportunities to hear Michael Jason do his stuff. So but it's I'm very interested when they wrote this. Because of and what the folks at Big Finish knew was coming up for the 50th. Because I like the Valeyard teases the Doctor, like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, I'm a future, because he's supposed to be a future version of the Doctor, essentially. So he's like, I have the benefit of hindsight. He's like, I could tell you about some of your future incarnations, like the next one who's gonna get himself into all sorts of trouble, which is exactly what happens with the 7th Doctor. Although obviously this is post 7th Doctor being on TV, so they knew what the 7th Doctor was going to get into.
It looks like December 2014 was it.
Yeah,
was written.
Well, it couldn't have done that because it was released in 2013.
Oh, I'm sorry. Recorded in 2013. Sorry.
Yeah.
Looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So maybe 2012.
Maybe. So, but to also mention the 8th Doctor and how that Doctor can't get away from death, and knowing that the 8th Doctor, until obviously the nice little mini episode that we got right before, you know, Day of the Doctor, with Paul McGann's Doctor returning and seeing him regenerate into John Hurt's Doctor. But we know that the 8th Doctor was involved in the Time War. So at least to a point, as much as he didn't want to. So that's again, what the Valeyard says, even there's just enough truth in there based on what we know that it's like it's like I know I shouldn't believe everything you say, but you're definitely on the nose there for a number of things. So
yeah,
like
you're hitting a little too close to home,
right? It's like, yeah,
it's just like how well do you know River's song? That would be the next question out of my mouth. Oh, that would be something to see those two meet. Whoo!
Oh my God.
Oh, the sass.
But yeah, it's just, oh my goodness, this is a really, really good one. But it's definitely one for the those that are more in know more of the stuff that came before. Really, this is not one where you just, this is like, oh yeah, this is a good place to start in Big Finish. Not really. So but yeah, I listened to it several times, and I like smile pretty much the entire time, just because some of the dialogue is just so, it's just so amazing. Oh, the sass, the amount of sass.
Yes.
So,
and it's pitch perfect too. It doesn't sound off.
No, it's completely appropriate though. Yeah, the doctor asking if the Valeyard is going to play the spoons for an encore. Samuel Sylvester is like, yeah, I got mine.
Don't you go there. Those spoons are mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a very, very good Big Finish audio. Obviously, I find it extremely re-listenable, but not for noobs. So
no. When I saw that you picked this one, oh my gosh, I was bouncing up and down when I saw you pick. I'm like, yay!
Yeah.
I was wondering when we're going to get around to that one.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So. All right. You guys have anything?
Nope. Do yourself a favor. If you haven't watched Trial of the Time Lord, do that, then pick up this.
Which Trial of the Time Lord is out on, it's gotten the Blu-ray treatment. So
yes, it has. Oh, and it is spectacular.
Yep. Chauncey gave me that. It's anniversary present.
Very nice.
Not our last anniversary, the anniversary before that, I think.
Cool.
So, and now I need to get the other Colin Baker Blu-ray, which has everything else.
Yes.
Because his run was short.
Yes, it was.
I'm not going to get up on that soapbox. Been there, done that several times. So, but yeah, Trial of Time Lord, this Trial of Valeyard, and it's good. It's good. That's all I can say. It's good stuff. So, if this was Next Stop Everywhere, I would give it 9 skull caps.
There you go.
All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to chime in about this particular Big Finish story or anything else we may talk about, the news and the like, you can send us an email just like Shalane and Aaron have done. Hopefully your email is more cooperative than Shalane's was. You could email us fiveishfangirls@gmail.com, or you can visit our website, which is thefiveishfangirls.com, where you can connect with all of our other social media accounts, and you can always contact us via those as well. There's also the links to the Goodreads book club. So, maybe you want to wait on this one and see if it wins for March. And then you can listen to it for book club.
Not that we're showing our hand at what we voted for.
No. And of course, there is also on our website ways for you to financially support us. So there is our Patreon, and also our merch, which is available on Redbubble. So you can do that there, make purchases. And of course, also on our website, information on Fangirls Give Back, our non-for-profit. So I was recently at an event with some familiar faces, and we got to talking, and plans maybe happening. So
cool.
It all just comes down to time because we all have just the same 24 hours in a day. So but we have lots of ideas, and hopefully at least some of them can come to fruition. So there is that. So and then speaking of our nonprofit, unfortunately most of our listeners are not my Facebook friend, so this won't matter to you as far as my personal Facebook feed is concerned, although if it gets shared by other pages, could people still donate? I'm not entirely sure how that works, because I know Nick shared it through. I know Nick shared it through with the Gold Standard Facebook page. So I guess go to the Gold Standard Facebook page if you're on Facebook and see if you can access that. But I have for my birthday, I've set up a fundraiser for Fangirls Give Back. So but of course you can always go to the website, and at the bottom there is a donation link there as well. So if the Facebook thing doesn't work, you can always do it directly through the website also. So any donations will automatically go to Fangirls Give Back. Any money we get from like Patreon, merchandise sales, that goes more to support the podcast, because the government is weird about where your money comes from when you have a nonprofit. So but it all helps support us and helps keep us going, because as long as we can keep this ball rolling, it's gonna keep rolling. So but anyway, that is all we have for this week. So until next episode, I guess it is time to sign off.
This is Brittany Belvedere saying good night.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in not a secret laboratory, just Indianapolis, which is not nearly as exciting. But like I said, Gallifrey can go hang.
Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefivishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.